All right, so now that we've started talking about angles, there are different pairs of angles, and if we can identify these pairs of angles, we'll be able to like know specific relationships about them. So here we go. The first angle pair is adjacent angles. So for adjacent angles, here's a picture of what they look like. Angle A and angle B there, they are adjacent. And our definition is two angles that share a common ray. Ooh, that's not cute. Common ray, okay? So a common ray just means that they're next to each other and they share one of these lines in common. And the one that they share is this line right in the middle, because that line is part of angle A and it's part of angle B. So there is no relationship. Just because I know what angle A is does not mean, oh, if I know angle A and B are adjacent, like I don't know that that means angle B, like are they equal or do they add up to something? I don't know that. So it's useful, like, yeah, they're next to each other, but there is no relationship, so that's not super helpful for us. So that's our first one, adjacent angles. Our next pair is vertical angles. So vertical angles happens when you have an X in the picture. So I like to put an X next to our vocabulary word because that's exactly what it looks like when vertical angles happen. So vertical angles are a pair of non-adjacent angles that are formed when two lines cross. Okay, so that happens when they make this X. So non-adjacent means that the vertical ones are not next to each other. They're not sharing a line. So if I look at this picture, I can see, I've already marked it for you, that angle 1 and angle 3, those are the vertical angles because they're not next to each other. They're across from each other. And in this case, I know, if I know that they're vertical angles, I know they're equal. So that tells me in this picture, oh, angle 1 and 3 are vertical, which means that angle 1 is going to be equal to angle 3. So I'll write that down. That's important information. You will be using that information later. But angle 1 and 3 are not the only pair of vertical angles in this picture because the other two angles, they're also vertical. So that means they are also equal. So angle 2 equals angle 4. They're the same. Okay, so this is like you're going to be using vertical angles a lot, so you have to know, oh, it's the ones across from each other and they're equal. All right, another angle pair is complementary angles. So complementary angles are a pair of angles that add up to 90 degrees. Okay, so when I look at my picture right here, how do I know that these are complementary? Well, I know that because there's that box in the corner down there. And if that box is there, we know the box means it's a 90-degree angle. It's a right angle. Okay, so this relationship, I'm going to know that angle A plus angle B is going to add up to 90. So you're going to be writing that equation a lot. Like if you have complementary angles, you're going to do something plus your, like one angle plus your other angle is going to add up to 90. Okay. All right, the next one is supplementary angles. So supplementary angles looks like this, and it's a pair of angles that add up to what number? 180 this time. They're going to add up to 180 degrees. Okay, so it's pretty much the same as your complementary angle pair. You're going to do like, oh, I know one of the angles plus another angle is going to add up to 180. And if I look right here, I know that these are supplementary because I can see one of them is 130 and the other one's 50. And I know that 130 plus 50 equals 180. Check. That's how I know they're supplementary. Okay. And the last kind is a linear pair. So if I look, first of all, if I look at the word linear pair, in the word linear, I see there's the word line in there. I know that there's a linear pair because they're going to make this straight line because angle A and angle B are next to each other and along the bottom they make a straight line. So here we go. The official definition is two angles that are adjacent. Remember we just talked about adjacent angles. They're adjacent and supplementary. Adjacent and supplementary. So what does that mean for us? That means that they are next to each other because they're sharing that common ray, that common line in the middle. And they're adding up to 180. Okay, so if I can tell you, oh, these are a linear pair, then again, you're going to be able to write that one of the angles plus the other angle is going to equal 180. That is the most important part of them being a linear pair. We're going to use that information a lot. And you might be wondering, like, okay, supplementary and linear pair, like, they look a lot alike. What's the difference? Well, if you look at supplementary, you see that big gap in between. These two angles are not touching each other. But if I look down at linear pair, they are right up next to each other. They're sharing this line in the middle in common. That's the adjacent part, okay? So for today, all you have to do is be able to identify which is which. So you may go ahead and start your practice.